Well, good morning, everyone. Here we are back at it. My goodness, this week is flying. It is going one after another. Scares me to death. I remember, I've been seeing on the news all the kids going back to school. They're like, this school's back in session. These kids start tomorrow. And I used to dread that because I just thought the school year was so long. Just took forever to get to the end of the year, Now here I am, and it's like one blinky blink, and an entire week is gone. Does anyone feel the same, or is it just me? Hold on, OJ. Uh-oh, I can't see my chat. Uh-oh, YouTube, what are you doing to me? All right, there we go. That's what I was trying to do. Okay, here we go. For some reason, I thought Karma was a moderator, and she might have been at one point. And then YouTube likes to fix things that aren't broken. I know she was on the other channel. Let's just go ahead and blame Brooks for it. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Glad you're here, and we got a lot of stuff to go through today. All right. Every one of the ciders are having competency testing done. Okay. It is pretty much public knowledge that the kids, there's 16 of them, and obviously they're going to be concentrating more on the older children, that they're not going to make good witnesses. They are feral, as that's what they called them. They have never gone to school, and they almost speak like their own language, okay? So they're not really able to get across what was really going on. As far as people saying, been part in a crime, I know that. You know that. Not sending your kids to school is a crime. Your children living in puddles of urine and feces is a crime. Your children not having the proper nourishment is a crime. So I think it's a damn shame that there are people running around saying they just needed resources. Well, they had resources and they refused said resources because they went on the run because they weren't taking their kids to school. Let's take a second and tell everybody good morning, and we're going to get to it. All right, so you can see right here, this is just a simple Google search, okay? Simple Google search. And you can see right here what's going on. 2 days ago, records detail ciders, children, adults, their time spent in public schools. Okay, that's a short search. Records show rescued House of Horrors Ohio kids attended school for 2 years. That's it. 2 years. Columbus Dispatch. They've had a real hard on for this. Elizabeth, her attorney, filed a request for a mental health evaluation. Okay, another channel. Mother of 16 seeks competency insanity evaluation in the child endangerment case. Court records show Sider's family children missed months of school. We already knew that. And now Gary Sr. is out of the hospital. I don't know where he's living. I'm going to assume with his daughter Linda, and he's on an ankle monitor. Ooh, Jackson County Times-Journal said this is a single-family cult. Siders family case shows potential parallels to cults. Isolated sex. Woo! What to do? Also, Elizabeth's brother Joey's in jail. Looks like somebody turned him in for a probation violation, something he wasn't supposed to be doing while he was on parole. Need to know more about that, and we will learn more about that in just a moment. Mirror V. I didn't see V come in. All right, here we go. This is from Walk. Actually, WowK 13 News. New filings. New filings. And I want your opinion. Do you think any of them would be competent to help in their own defense? It's actually a slam dunk for the state, if you want to know the truth. The witnesses are the children, and they're uneducated as fuck. What they were raised in is something that they don't even realize is wrong.
To follow the case of those 16 children that were found in a home at the end of June. 13 News reporter Sarah Davis brings us what's new this week in the case.
It's been over a month since 16 children were discovered living in what was described as deplorable conditions, leading to the arrest of 4 adults, Gary Siders, Christina Siders, Gary Siders Jr., and Elizabeth Siders.
Look at that motley crew right there. My goodness. Look at that. The core 4 right there. Smelling that piss. Stepping in shit. Sometimes human poo-poo. Going to the dang food bank. Yet you got kids being life-flighted because they're so malnourished and they have respiratory problems. I'm going to assume from all the ammonia.
The house where they all are said to have lived has been marked down with police tape and boarded up. But the case remains active, as the attorneys representing the 4 say their clients aren't fit for trial or for custody. Gary Siders was released August 3rd on his own recognizance of $300,000. This came after Gary's attorney filed a motion to modify for medical reason. As part of his release, he agreed to wear a GPS monitoring device, act as a law-abiding citizen, inform the court on any contact information changes, and submit fingerprints as well as DNA to the Vinton County Sheriff within 24 hours of his release.
Oh, yeah. They have to know where he's at, what he's doing. Diana said they're Satan's rejects. Exactly. Let's go ahead and give Diana the comment of the day, because I cannot get over these people going, excuse me, I had to cough. It's not a crime to be poor. You know, and now the house is all boarded up. The landlord died a couple of years ago. The city's probably just going to demolish it. More than likely. There's nothing you can do with it. That other house they had, that guy bought it for basically pennies on the dollar. And he had a hell of a time scraping up the dried up poop, getting all that ammonia smell out of there. He had to put down new flooring, new sheetrock. My goodness.
The other 3, Christina, Gary Jr., and Elizabeth, all remain in custody on a $300,000 bond. At this point, all 4 defendants have also requested competency evaluations, with Elizabeth's attorney filing a motion Tuesday morning, saying that she was suffering from a condition that would produce legal insanity at the time of the alleged offenses. The motion also asks for a reason of insanity evaluation if she were to be deemed competent to stand trial. The Siders are all still waiting on an indictment. Each face 16 counts of child endangerment.
17. And look at Janica Did Real Gypsy Soul just get a membership? Tell you what, y'all thank Janica if you got a membership. I think the only one of them, well, there's only two of them that I can think of that have a snowball's chance. Well, actually, none of them have a snowball's chance in Haiti. So I'm using the wrong slang. That have any chance of getting out of this would be Gary Sr., because, well, he has dementia. He has had many strokes. And he's basically on death's door. He don't even know what day it is. And then you have Elizabeth, because the woman has been pregnant for 18 years. So they can throw in all kinds of scenarios, postpartum. There's all kinds of stuff they can throw in. But I'm getting really tired of these people not paying for their crimes because they got some little screw loose. Don't we all? Don't we all have something? That's crazy business. And all right, so Joey, his wife, I guess, posted this. And hold on, I got two mutual friends with this guy. Who is Debajit Daz? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so she posted, Joey will be gone for a few months thanks to his internet stalker. They're not talking about me, by the way. I'll update on here for him when I can. Since so many are asking, Joey had a parole warrant from a 10-year-old case. All right, parole warrants are pretty serious, JoJo. Pretty serious. He was supposed to complete parole in Ohio, but instead came home to help me with my dying father. Because JoJo is a real Dr. Quinn medicine woman. He had every intention of turning himself in as soon as I had things settled here at home. Thanks to the shrew from TikTok that has been stalking us and relentlessly trying to lie about us and ruin our lives, he is taking care of it sooner than expected. It's from 10 years ago. There's nothing soon about this. Her and a few of her followers made fake pages in my name, JoJo's name, and Elizabeth's. They were making fake threats to themselves to try and get Joey in trouble, like IP addresses can't be traced. Don't ever F with Joey. He knows all. He only has a few months left. Just please remember anything she says about us are complete lies. She must know something because he's in jail. Okay? He's in jail. I heard some crazy things about myself these past 2 days since he's been arrested. Well, what are we going to do? Okay, I think this is their mom right here. Is that Lori? I think it is. Hold on. Add friend. Message. Can't send requests. Calm down. Hi. My name is Shannon. I have a channel called True Crime Beat. Please message me back, and I would love to have you on my show. There you go. Win-win for both me and Shannon. Shannon goes, oh boy. Shannon's like, I don't know if I want that shit done or not. I don't know. All right, so let's start with the kids. Okay? Let's start with the kids. I don't care so much about what Chris Cuomo says, but the guy that he had on made all the sense in the world about the fact is these kids have never been educated. They were in the pee and poop too. and they may not be good witnesses. Let's roll clip B.
Idea that the father who just had that gag order applied and the mother, meaning the grandparents, okay, looking at it through the lens of the context of the kids, that they have dementia. They're not that old, by the way, but he's 73, but and she's a little younger than he, but the idea that they're not the masterminds of this, they are just old and broken, and they were taken advantage of too. What do you need?
They haven't always been this old and broken, okay? And the oldest grandchild is 18 going on 19. So old and broken, Christine and Gary at some point should have said, why aren't my grandkids going to school? There's a school bus out there every day. It comes back in the afternoon and brings kids back. Why aren't my grandkids in school? Speaking of, why do you keep having more grandkids?
To figure out, and where will you get the answers?
I don't think you need to try to figure out much. So if they were taken advantage of for 18 years and they never reached out for any type of social services or any type of intervention by law enforcement were being taken advantage of, or relayed their information to any therapist, psychologist, hospital, anything, anyone would have helped them if they thought they were being taken advantage of. They were definitely complacent in all this.
I agree. They were definitely complacent in all of this. They have not been in this stage of health decline the entire time. This is something that happened over the last few years as they became older. Okay? Take the grandma, her age. I read she's 66. All right. Are you telling me she didn't know better at 46? Take his age. What is he, 73? You're telling me at 53, he didn't know? This is wrong? This is wronger than Donkey Kong? We're hitting up food banks and we got a bunch of grandkids that aren't going to school. And thank you so much, Basement Jesus. You just gave somebody a membership to go to school every day here because we learn together.
100%. But they weren't taken advantage of. They opted to live there. They opted to move. I don't know the number of times, number of times they moved. And so they had options too. And they didn't even reach out for any help for their grandchildren.
Right. So you'd have to show that they're incompetent. That their case is pretty easy. A lawyer's going to have to make the case that they're not mentally competent, that they couldn't make any of the decisions.
But investigators said that the members of the family had moved around for the past 2 decades. They avoided medical and governmental paper trails. They avoided CPS, that all they wanted to know is, why's your kids not going to school? Why are they not going to school? That does not tell me that they are incompetent. That tells me they know something's wrong and they're running from it. I'm going back to that Jackson Journal article saying they might be in some kind of damn cult. Who was messaging me? If this is Pam Tate, I'm going to lose my shit. Oh my God, it's Jules and Paper Cut. Motherfuckers. You know, nobody bothers Diane Sawyer when she's doing a show. Ugh. Let's all have a round of applause for Paper Cut and Jules.
That you see as reasonable because they're not in a reasonable state of mind. And that'll be the challenge. And we all know how that goes. Now and so then you get to Siders Jr., the guy with the indecent exposure allegations, and his wife, who gave birth, as far as we know, to all 16 of these kids, was a child bride. The obvious way that you get into the story, as you did with Turpin, is through the kids. What if you don't have the kids? What if they can't help you?
This is the $1 million question. The Turpin kids had enough dialogue to let them know what was going on. What we're hearing about these kids is they're feral. Like, they're climbing the walls and shit. Like, they don't even know how to use the toilet. Spoons and forks confuse the hell out of them. Basement Jesus, I'm going to start pinging Brooks out of spite now. No, don't worry. Jules and Paper Cut will keep doing it. Because they think that shit's funny. That's okay. I'll get those whores back.
With the prosecution, how do you now not just explain it all away as poverty? You've got no documentation. You've got no agency interaction. You've got no schooling for that perspective. The kids haven't said anything. They can't say anything. How do you get the truth of what happened? Because you say, I locked them in a 12 by 12 room. They're covered in shit and this and that, and they haven't eaten. And I say, yeah, I'm all right. I'm a bad parent, but I wasn't trying to be a bad parent. I'm broke and it's hard. And I got a lot of kids and I'm a little brainwashed and I'm a little stupid. I'm a little simple. And I wasn't trying to hurt my kids. This is the best I could do.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a good defense. I agree with your one statement that it's going to be nearly impossible for the kids to relay the.
Here, I'll fix this real quick. Let's see. Watch this. We're going to do a group. We're going to let them know live right now.
Yeah.
Okay, normally you're drinking coffee naked. Are you naked? Turn on your camera, Jules.
No.
Okay. Well,
I don't want to be on. Do what?
Well, you guys are both on panel now. So
I know.
what is so important over there? I appreciate all the stickers and shit. Thank you to both of you. Real journalism going on here.
Nothing. We're talking about how his internet was down and I'm fixing to go babysit.
Well, everybody, we have breaking news. Andy's internet is down and Jules has to babysit. You kill me. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Told you I'd fix those fucks.
The details of what they survived through, like the Turpins did, that's going to be very difficult. And it's going to take some of the best professionals to elicit that information, not just law enforcement professionals, but medical and child life specialists and all those people. And it could turn out, I do believe they will end up getting statements. They might not all be verbal statements, like perfectly recorded interview statements of fact about how they were maltreated. It could come from the professionals and the medical staff and drawings of what's right and what's wrong.
What do you do if the grandparents have dementia? You know, you interview them, it is what it is, and they're going to get tested. To the extent that
look, if they totally have dementia and all this stuff going on, they're obviously not going to be good witnesses. But the evidence speaks for itself, and the evidence didn't start on the day that they found 16 kids. Life flighted to, and every one of them needed medical attention. This is where it comes down to a timeline of how long have these kids had to live like this. You see, if Jules and Andy, they're adults. If they want to shit in the floor, they can. But you can't be raising kids around that type of filth. By the way, this Jules and Andy thing is going to go on for a long time. Turkey Gal has a question, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it. All right. Let's go through the kids' names. I'm sorry, not names, their ages. I got to save something real quick. I'm all over the place. 2008, Elizabeth marries Gary Siders Jr. 2 months later, she gives birth to a girl who's now 18. 2009, another girl. 2011, another girl. 2012, another girl. 2014, a boy who is now 11. May 16th, another girl, now 10. I think we know what chromosome old Whopper Jr. throws, don't we? 2017, another girl who's 8 now. 2019, a boy that's 6. 2020, a girl who's 5. Twins. They're now 4 years old, a boy and a girl. 2022, another set of twins that were conjoined and did not survive. 2024, twins again, boy and girl. 2025, twin boys, now 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of twins. Could you just imagine?
Gary Siders Jr., the one with the indecent exposure stuff, the one who's supposedly the biological father of these kids. Now, you're going to know all that, too. That's just DNA. They're going to find out who's the daddy and who's the mommy. So they'll know if there's any overlap with the grandparents and the parents here. So you'll get that piece. But after that, what kinds of interviews, assuming that they're at all cooperative, because they could just say, no, we're not talking to you. Charge us if you want to charge us. But what are those interviews like with the parents?
The interviews with the parents is very difficult. And I was in law enforcement for 42 years, Chris. And my theory was, no matter what the case, always treat people like I would want my family treated if they were in that situation. And I would say I got statements, I won't call them confession, I got statements 95% of the time, not by browbeating people, not by threatening them, but just talking to them and conversating with them and building up rapport with them and learning about their life before whatever events happen. And most of those events were related to special victim unit type crimes, including child deaths, infant deaths.
Yes, but here they're lawyered up.
Yeah,
so
you're not going to be able to.
Cuomo knows better than that. They lawyered up. No, they were afforded an attorney because they couldn't afford an attorney on their own. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you. What in the world is Chris Cuomo talking about? They lawyered up. Neva, she said, y'all are going to house clean with me. Thank you for hosting our morning. I see some new names in here, and I have a feeling there's a few people in the bushes. Please come out and say hi, and if you're new here, we want to get to know you. And you'll want to get to know everybody here except for Paper Cut and Jules.
To talk to them,
So-
unless it is through their attorney, and that's not unheard of, because sometimes clients want to explain to their attorney why what happened, and then the attorney will sometimes use their best judgment, depending on the law enforcement agency or maybe even the specific detective involved, and tell them, yes, let's go give the police a statement. It'll be a limited statement. We'll stay within this box, but they need to hear what you have to say.
Why
another-
do the police, why is it in their interests to tell the police anything?
It all depends. So I had a case one time where a severely handicapped 15-year-old girl sadly passed after years and years of.
Do you all remember? I only did a few shows about her, Lacey Fletcher, the girl that basically meshed to the couch. She had been pooping and peeing in it for many years. And her parents would just leave her baby wipes, Cheetos in Disney movies. They all kept trying to say that her parents were mentally ill. But, well, Louisiana didn't think so. And they threw their ratchet asses in jail. Yes, they did. Amanda. Oh, I guarantee there were C-sections for the twins, especially the conjoined twins.
Issue. And so no one knew the exact cause of her death until the autopsy. And it turned out she had a care provider that had put a studded earring in her ring in her ear, which somehow the backing came off. It went down her throat. It lodged in there. It turned into a severe medical condition.
This dude better hurry with the story because Chris Cuomo's getting bored. Look at him. He's gulping the coffee and he's just like, wiped his mouth. Yep, go ahead. Tell me your fascinating story. All right, it's time for music break with Joey. If anybody wants the address on how to get a hold of Joey, let me know.
Ever since the day you walked into my life, you flipped me upside down, took me for a ride. I didn't know how to take it, or I never seen it coming. Should've just stayed, but I took off running. So now I lie awake in the middle of the night, try to figure out what to do. And I know now that I need you in my life, just like you always knew. I was a fool and I cut you like a knife, so I got no right to judge you. All I know is I'm more scared to live without you than I am to love you.
I knew it. This whole time, I knew it. Radio Gods is a closet Joey fan. She wants him to find a contraband cell phone and continue making his videos. Well, that is one thing we're good at around here, is finding the truth. Okay? Finding the truth.
Ever since the day you walked out of my life, you flipped me upside down, took me for a ride. Thought this was what I wanted, but
Karma says, he looks like my old neighbor when he was tweaking. I don't know your neighbor. I do have a question though. Did your neighbor have a fetish for catalytic converters and copper that came off of air conditioners at local churches? Asking for a friend.
Never could have imagined this is how it'd be when it actually happened. And now I lie awake in the middle of the night trying to figure out what to do. And I know now that I need you in my life just like you always knew. I was a fool and I cut you like a knife, so I got no right to judge you. All I know is I'm more scared to live without you than I am to love you.
Fascinating. So sad. So sad that the man got him, as they say.
Because no one detected that. And then she ended up dying. And so as an investigator, I got called out just on that case because of the type of death. And they wanted to know if mom and dad intentionally caused it. And so after reviewing all the facts and circumstances and finding out the background information that I found out without even talking to the parents, I then contacted the attorneys, the parents. The parents consulted with the attorney.
Us by storm and is having effects on people's lives and wellness.
About that.
Or her complete background. I've just heard tell that she doesn't come from a great family background herself. So, and the fact that, you know, there was pregnancy and birth after pregnancy and birth, I think that may say something about her mental health, knowing that probably after the first two, there was no means to provide for these children. But that doesn't mean that she didn't love them in her own way. Not the way you or I would love our kids and care for our kids. She may have loved them, but she...
Well, you see, dude, you're boring the shit out of Chris Cuomo. And I don't like the whole gaslighting that's going on. Rich or poor, upper middle class, lower middle class, right in the middle, which is all the backbreakers I know. We know that our kids have to eat. They have to have, and I'm going to say it like this, a somewhat clean house. No one's expecting anyone to be on their hands and knees scrubbing floors every day. You know what I'm talking about. Education. And so she loved them in her own way. I think she does love her kids. But her own way is a crime. Her own way is a crime. Whopper Jr.'s own way is a crime. The grandparents' own way is a crime, even though legally they are not responsible for their grandkids. O.J. Simpson loved Nicole in his own way. She's dead.
I would love our kids and care for our kids. She may have loved them, but she could have taken care of them better. It doesn't cost anything for cleanliness.
Can you love someone? Can you be sane, mentally competent, and have kids in the condition that these kids reportedly were?
No. And to me, that would be a near impossibility. She might have had the love, and she might have had the want, but she didn't have the means, and she didn't apply anything. Otherwise, the police would have walked in there and found 12 children in a clean room. Not a feces-laced, urine-soaked room.
And when you remember the Turpin, how was the mother's disposition towards the kids once they were separated from her in that case?
She loved them and wanted to be reunited with them. And at the early onset in 2018, they loved their parents. They were the only parents they had ever known. Everyone from the 29-year-old.
And the Turpin kids to this day still say they love their parents. They still call them mother and father. Now, obviously, their verbal skills are a lot better now, because they've been out and about. They have had some education. They have a uphill battle with these children because nobody ever worked with them. Nobody. And the Turpin house was disgusting. Don't get me wrong. It was a hoarder's picnic. You had to make a path to get anywhere. And I have a feeling when it comes out, we're going to hear a lot of parallels. We're probably going to hear some religious statements. It's not out yet. Jordan Turpin said, we shower once a year. We've talked before about simple things, as in a bathroom. You know what I mean? We all take a bath. We take a shower. We wash our hands. We brush our teeth. We go pee-pee. We go poo-poo. You have 20 people in the house. That would be almost impossible to have any sense of hygiene.
Down to the youngest, love their parents, and they wish their parents hadn't treated them like they had.
What is the chance that not all of these 4 people, the adults, who have been, fingered as suspects in abuse and worse of these kids, what's the chance that they don't all get the same treatment legally?
I think there's a high likelihood that the biological parents are going to be held more to a higher standard and accountability than the grandparents, despite the fact, in my mind, the grandparents had more life experience and should have known better.
Assuming that they're not mentally deficient, either by disease or diminished capacity. Have you ever seen a case where kids were in the kind of condition that's reported here and the parents weren't found criminally responsible?
No. I mean, we're talking kids so malnutrition, they were on the verge of death and had to be airlifted to the hospital.
He's exactly right. Love is Colorblind said she was 15 years old when she had her first baby. Her parents signed the papers so she could get married. She had a terrible childhood. Joey, who's in jail now, Jailhouse Joey, he confirmed all of that. I believe she was assaulted. Now, if she's incompetent, the state of Ohio, unless you have dementia or some sort of traumatic brain injury, big difference, they'll get you competent real quick, okay? They'll get you all pilled up. They'll bring you the nicer food in the jail. They'll let you have more than one Diet Pepsi on Friday. They'll get you competent to stand trial. 7 of the children were rushed to hospitals. Investigators saying one child was in critical condition. Child welfare officials have taken all 16 children into temporary custody. Tells me all I need to know about their extended family, because not one child went to Linda Siders, who keeps putting pictures out of her nieces and nephews. None were enrolled in school. They were in a small room that contained human feces. We're not talking about a cat that shit in the corner. We're talking about human feces. An 18-year-old that has developmental disabilities, and she's unable to spell her own name. Let's get those thumbs up going, everybody. Let's give it a like. There's 156 people in here, and I'm going to assume no one has a broken thumb. Let's hit the like. Or Kimberly is not going to gift any memberships. She threw down the gauntlet.
That's severe child neglect. That's felony child neglect.
And the idea of why, I know that motive isn't part of a prosecution, but it is a big part of doing an investigation. Means, motive, and opportunity in terms of trying to assess a crime or fundamentals for you guys. When you look at the House of Horrors, as it's being called, and the attorney for Elizabeth Siders will certainly say that that is a mischaracterization. How important is motive, and what does it look like from what you've seen so far?
At this point, I believe there's several reasons why it happened. And maybe some of them are monetary related, economical related, lack of money. But Chris, you know as well as I do, there's free healthcare out there. I mean, I'd like to know if any of them ever went to the doctors for anything. You know, there's opportunities for childcare money out there and feeding these kids out there. Our society isn't broken down so much that we're going to let 2 kids starve in one house if they don't have any food, much less 16. You know, and judging from the Turpin case, the Turpins used to tell me how it deeply emotionally impacted them and affected them for life, hearing their siblings cry in those chains and not being able to do anything about it. That's torturous, not only to the victim.
That 100% is torture. That they know what their siblings are going through and they can't do anything to help them. They get a hold of an old cell phone. Jordan sneaks out. She doesn't even know what the word medication means. She can't form her words right. And they didn't need a warrant. They went to the door because what she'd said, if I go back, they're going to kill me. And the little ones are chained up. That's some sick shit. I don't know. These people seem to have won the piece of shit parent prize, at least for this show.
Chained up.
Today. Tomorrow, somebody will do it better. You know how it goes.
But to the other siblings who had to listen to that every night.
Are you, given what you learned from Turpin and your experience within the system, were you surprised to hear that whether it was Vinton County, you know, we don't know yet why they showed up at the house. It may have been about the indecent exposure cases. It may have been about something else. We don't know yet. We haven't really gotten a clear picture of that from the authorities yet. But does it shock you that these people were able to move around in Ohio for this long without being detected by neighbors or any kind of government agency?
Well, their house was, it sounds like it was very rurally isolated. No direct neighbors.
Janica said she would like to know about Elizabeth's parents. Now, I did the part 1 and the part 2 with Joey that he did on TikTok. If you would like for me to do a separate show about Elizabeth's upbringing, we can do that, because the child she had at 15, excuse me, I gotta clear my throat again. That was not her first child. She actually had a child at 13 that was given to a family member. Her mother said, and she got pregnant at 15, it's going up for adoption. That baby is going up for adoption. Elizabeth said, no, no, no. So what do the parents do? They take her to West Virginia. They sign off for her to get married. And if anybody wants to put the playlist in, there's a lot of stuff to refresh yourself on.
Unlike the Turpins, who had neighbors on all 3 or 4 sides of them, 5 if you want to count all the houses around them. And it sounded like the train tracks maybe separated them from the Dollar General, but the Dollar General people knew about the kids. They took up donations and stuff for the kids. I'm really surprised that no one ever reached out to any child protective service agency or some kind of assistance, just an assistance agency or a church or someone goes, hey, these kids have nothing.
Now, is that something for the...
He doesn't know. They were at the food bank every week, which is run by a local church. And every time they went in there, Grandma would make it clear that they have 16 grandchildren. Now, here's the question. Was Elizabeth receiving WIC? I'm looking at the babies' ages. I mean, we talk about the older kids quite a bit. I'm looking at the babies' ages. They need formula. They need diapers, wipes. And we also know there is a lot more estrogen in that house than testosterone. Somebody had to have been buying feminine products. Someone had to have been. By the way, I'm dropping the link if anybody wants to come up. And while I'm waiting on you, we're going to do another music break with Joey.
Fuck this, fuck that. Fuck you and fuck your hat. Offended by the word fuck, that's well. Unfollow this page and go to hell. I woke up petty, had espresso and rage. Phone in my hand like I'm stepping on stage. Scrolling through comments like, why so mean, bro? It's the internet, not a church magazine. You said be nice like that's some law, but I dropped one word and you dropped your jaw. Now you're typing essays like you changed the world, while I turn your outrage into hooks that get curled. It's not that deep, it's not that serious. You're acting shocked, but it's kind of hilarious. You press play, then you press quit, but you still here though, admit it. Fuck this, fuck that. Fuck you and fuck your hat. Offended by the word fuck, that's well. Unfollow this page and go to hell. Fuck this, fuck that. Fuck you.
Oh, the world is missing out on that because he's in jail. All right, so Grandpa is out. He is out of the hospital. He was in the hospital basically a month. He is on his ankle monitor. He has to report where he is at all times. I have a feeling he's not doing that. I have a feeling whoever he is with is doing it for him. Thank you so much, Basement Jesus. This video smells like 6 months sober. God is good while waiting in line for Suboxone. The hell does that even mean? We have someone knocking at the door. Well, hey, Kristen, what's going on?
Hi, pretty lady. How are you today?
Oh, I don't look too pretty today. I just got my hair combed out and it's hot outside. How are you, baby? How's Michigan?
It's really nice. We've had really nice weather up here. I kind of wish I was down where you're at. I like hot weather, so I probably wouldn't say that if I was there, but
When you have a leak in your pool, it doesn't really work in your, work in your favor.
no, I know I've seen your backyard too. It's really pretty. It reminds me of my Aunt Lisa's house. She's got a pool and she likes to sit in the backyard and drink her beer and do her barbecues and just enjoy life, as you would say.
Super nice. So, what do you think about this case? Do you think that anybody will be fit to stand trial?
I've had an incident. I kind of look at you as a friend. So I just been criminally irresponsible for a car crash that I was involved in. So I'm criminally insane, as you would say, on the books and everything. I think that there's a lot to, there's a lot to talk about because, if the older guy does have dementia, we both know people with dementia really has no idea what's going on.
If he does, those are internet rumors. I can't find anything to validate that. The only thing I can find is that he has had several strokes. Okay, so
Yeah, so if that is true and he does have dementia, we know he's already living not a very good life because he doesn't know what's going on. So let's just put that aside. Let's say that he does. Now, if he doesn't and he does have strokes, I mean, most people that have strokes can't really get around. So I'm not trying to, baby this guy, but you can tell, like, when you see his pictures that he's not all there. So, what I wanted to talk about was, when I first seen the case, I always thought, the fireball. I love it when you call him that fireball, and I can't remember what you call his mom, but like you said, where did the responsibility of the grandma coming in and saying, "Why are my grandkids not in school? Why is my house have crap all over it? I let you move in here and you guys are, acting like children because I believe that someone came out and said that their house didn't look like that when they were growing up. They're like, I think it was a cousin that had said, no, she was, she had a clean house. So what happened is that after they moved in, did their house get bad? Did it start getting that bad?
I
You
think
know,
every place they lived, Kristen, got trashed. Every one of them.
now,
And,
oh,
and
sorry.
yeah, grandmas don't get down that way. They, it's like, we've raised our children and we look at our grandchildren and we're like, oh, hell no, this isn't going on.
Oh, I know. You should hear my mom when my kids were little. Their white shirts had to be crispy and they could not have anything on their face. God forbid if my kid had something on their shirt. So it's all about the presentation. And so that's why I wonder if, we do have a little bit to blame on the grandma and the grandpa because, where does that come in at? You don't want your grandkids to walk around like that. I know you're a grandma now and you'd be crazy if you saw your granddaughter dirty. So, it's just it comes back to, how they were raised and, where did this come in and who lets their 15-year-old daughter go off and get married to an 18, 19-year-old man. So it's a sad situation all around. And I think I heard somewhere someone say, the victim can always be the victim aggressor or something like that because you learn how to.
Say this. I'm going to play, actually, I'm not going to play devil's advocate. I'm just going to say what I think. The grandparents haven't had declining health for the last 20 years. And so they should pay through the criminal justice system because you're sick. Hell, we got people in jail right now that have cancer. So are we supposed to say, well, you abused all these kids, but now you have cancer, so we're just going to call it a wash? No, in my opinion. MJ said, where is he staying? All they've said is with a family member. That's all I know. And you're just going to have to get them all pepped up enough just to sit there next to their attorney as they spill out all the evidence. That's what's going to happen. And in the meantime, the kids are going to have to get educated, nourished. They're going to have to learn simple life skills, Kristen. Like, what do you do after you go to the bathroom?
Well, you usually wipe your butt and clean it up so you don't stink.
Oh my God. After you wipe your butt, Kristen, what do you do?
Oh, I put pants and go, I guess. I'm not sure. You got to tell me. What am I missing?
I wash my hands and put on
I'll
lotion.
wash my hands. There you go. Wash my hands.
So you're telling everyone that after you wipe your butt, you don't wash your hands?
Sometimes I don't. I'm not going to lie.
I hope you don't work at Burger King.
I don't work at Burger King. I'm a massage therapist and I put alcohol on my hands before I do it. So good for them, right? Well, bleach, but yeah. So no, I get it. Not everybody has etiquette, the way that they do, but there are morals and standards. Like, why would you not send your kid to school? Like, if you, like, why not just go along with the regular society? Like they said their kids didn't go outside and play. Like, that's not normal. Like,
And
those
that's,
are just,
not true. We did a show and we were going through some of their text messages where, the oldest was talking to the second to the oldest saying, Dad says get in now. Dad says get in now. I don't want to. I don't want to.
So do you think that they went on TV and said that they were like unfair, like they were livestock? Is pretty much what they said. So do you believe that they over exaggerated a little bit on that?
No. I saw the pictures in the New York Post.
Okay.
I saw people in hazmat suits to go in there because the ammonia smell was so strong.
Okay.
I mean, they might have used the wrong words, the wrong adjectives when they're like, these kids are feral. And that is horrible. What are they supposed to say?
Yeah.
We've got 16 healthy kids in a house with no poop? No, they can't say that.
Yeah.
I mean, the charging documents tell you everything.
As a retired judge.
So you've been around the block. You've done a number of cases, presided over a number of cases. What are your thoughts, first of all, on this case? I know you've also presided over cases out in the Vinton and Jackson County areas. So what are your thoughts? You hear about 16 children. The prosecutor says they were hidden from the world, found in a house where the authorities say it's full of squalor, feces, the whole 9 yards. And this family is all living together. What do you make of that as a retired judge?
I've had cases like that in Hamilton County also. And when I was years ago, when I was actually an arson investigator years ago, in a prior life, in the arson task force, I would go into houses during fire investigations and get fleas all over me and everything. People living in squalor. And I had a case where a mother actually let her kids, she was a prostitute, let her kids in the house while she was out prostituting. And they started a fire and they were overcome. They were actually revived. And then this liberal magistrate in juvenile court gave the kids back to her. And a couple months.
Whoa, he's not mincing words. So he's talking about a woman. He's talking about people that live in squalor. The kids obviously suffer for it. And there's like fleas and shit all over the house. The mom goes out to prostitute. I don't know where. I'd like to know because I'd be calling that place right now. And then he said a liberal magistrate, which is a judge, gave the kids back to her. So I think we know which way he leans. What do you think about that, Kristen?
I think, he has the experience to know, I have no experience in none of this. And that's why I watch your show, because I do have a lot of respect for you and you've been doing this for a long time. So, I believe that police officers see a lot of things that we would probably cry. It's sad.
Oh, it is. Mama's out turning tricks and the kids burn the house down. But I guess in some people's minds, we're supposed to feel bad for mama. Speaking of t-shirts, today is Mean Girl Wednesday. It is. And so if you would like your own We Wear Pink on Wednesdays t-shirt, you can drop a donation into the chat, or you can email me and you'll get one. I just need to know your size. But I'm more intrigued with Bama's t-shirt that says, "Thank God I'm wearing the right shirt today," that says, "I refuse to argue with people that should have been swallowed." Can we all have a round of applause for Bama?
I like it.
By the way, the model does not come with the shirt.
I know, she's beautiful, ain't she?
Later, I responded, and we actually had to scrape these kids off the floor. They were literally melted. Yeah, they were killed. Yeah, it was horrible. I've seen a lot of bad parenting. I myself have 7 kids, 15 grandkids, 2 great grandkids. I love kids, so I don't like this. This bothers me.
Let's talk a little bit about Gary Siders Sr. being released.
Boston's here. She's late because she was shopping for a t-shirt for me. She's in Japan on vacation. Her and her beautiful family climbed Mount Fuji.
I'm jealous.
No, me too. Me too. Boston, what time is it in Japan right now? I must know. I've got a lot of questions about her vacation.
On this bond, signature bond. We knew this was going to happen. He was being treated in the hospital for a serious medical issue. So he's signed a $300,000 signature bond. Talk to us break down what that means.
I've never done one of those. I've never done a signature bond where if he doesn't show up, he owes $300,000. Where are they going to get the $300,000? Does he have $300,000? But I've never actually had one of those. But basically, it's if he doesn't show up, he owes $300,000, and of course they can arrest him, and put him in jail with no bond at that point. But essentially, he's facing a life term here because
he is facing a life term. They all are. But the thing is, his life term might be, with all the abuse that has been done to these children, could possibly be like 3, 4, 5 years, because he's much closer to the grave than the cradle. In every freaking case we talk about, the victim gets the life term. Even if they killed Mad Dog and Cookie out in South Carolina, if they seriously get the death penalty, doesn't matter. Demons like hell. They enjoy it.
That's not true. They hate hell. That's why they try to stay up here with us.
So now you're a theologist? Okay.
But no, I'm not a theologist. I was just being funny. I was joking with you.
But Javea, she's dead.
Yeah, she is. Poor girl.
Let's see. Paper cut. Yeah, nobody ever blocks Bama. I got rid of a moderator one day that was effing with Bama. I was like, we're not doing that.
Because he's 73. Now I'm older than him, but he looks older than me. I think he's had a rough life, but still, the point is, he's out now. Who knows where that's a wilderness there, Vinton and Jackson County, Pike County. He could just take off. He had nothing to lose because he faces so much time. At 73, it would be a life term. So
the county said they released him because it would have bankrupted the county, potentially his medical expenses. I mean, this is a poor county with an $8 million a year operating budget. So they don't feel he's a threat to the public.
That's true. Well, of course, that's true. Yeah, that's a point. That's a good point too. That's a good point in the judge's consideration. That's true because it's a very poor county. You're right, because I worked in Jackson County. It's poor. I know Vinton. The one defendant that I had, and the person that was litigating in Jackson County was from Vinton County. But Vinton, my judge friend who I went to.
This happens more times than not. One of my favorite legal experts, Pamela Tate, she was furious about this. And she's like, they should just leave him in the jail, Brooks. I go, well, believe it or not, he still is innocent because he hasn't been proven guilty. I don't work that way because I'm a civilian. I don't answer to the court. But like I said, more times than not, if somebody is having an issue, a medical issue in the jail, they will have to let them go because it will bankrupt a small county. They will. It also depends on the severity of the crime. Okay? A freaking rapist, murderer, yeah, they just they have to eat that one. All right, but a demented old man that has a stroke protocol, they'll take their chances on that. Any thoughts on that, Kristen? Because you've got everyone on the edge of their seat. You go, girl.
So I think that back to that situation, like he probably will cost them a lot of money. And my really concern is about the children. Look at, these kids have to live in this world now, and they're so far behind. The truancy thing really got to me because the county never forced it. I've seen kids where they forced it. Sometimes they force it up here in Michigan, especially if they know it's a bad situation. And, time and time again, there's kids coming out, they're not working. Like, where does the community come in and say, this doesn't seem right? So it's all about, how we handle the situation. And, I feel bad for, Christine is it Chris? I don't know the mom's name. I apologize, but
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, I feel bad for her. And I do feel bad for the older guy, but then at the same time, I don't feel bad for him because my grandma and grandpa and my parents would never allow me or themselves to walk around like that. So.
Mm-mm. And I'm in the minority, and that's okay because we can disagree and still be friends. Elizabeth is the one that I feel the least sorry for because at the end of the day, she's the mama.
Well, I agree. And I guess because I'm a female, I feel a little bad for her, but a little birdie told me on my shoulder that even a stray cat would make sure that their kids are okay. So that right there kind of proved to me that, she had the option to get out and she obviously liked it and she was okay with it.
She could have had one or two children and maybe done something like, I don't know, provide for them. I mean, what did Joan Rivers say? There is birth control out there. It's a little pill. It's called Tylenol. You put it between your knees and you don't open them.
I agree. I mean, it takes a lot of money to raise a child, and what are they looking at? Like 3.8 billion or $1 million to try to take care of these kids. They're gonna need funding for 16 kids, and so it just relies back on the state, and then it goes back to the government, which is all of us. So I guess if you see something that looks funny, say something because you might save a little kid's life.
Well, I was watching another show that, Elizabeth became a volunteer victim. She goes to the dollar store. She knows what a dustpan looks like. She knows what a broom looks like. She's not too ignorant to hold it. She knows what a mop looks like. At what point did she decide that this is just good enough for my kids?
Well,
So they're going to stay in that room and they're going to poop on the floor and I'm going to have another baby.
yeah. Is it true? Is the rumor true that that there was someone said that he was like telling her what to do at the dollar store, like pretty much walking her around or something like that. Did I hear that from that case, or was that a different case?
I didn't
Like
hear any.
bossing,
The
like
lady,
bossing her around.
no, the lady from the dollar store just said they would come in at almost closing time and they would get like chips and diapers, and they all stunk like F, and then they would leave. But she didn't ever recall seeing Whopper Jr., also known as Fire.
He was actually raised in Cheviot with me, a little town outside of Cincinnati. Judge Catanzaro, he moved to Pike County, and he would tell me the problems at Pike County. And he was a judge in Pike County. He would tell me about the problems at Pike County. They don't have a lot of money. It's true. That's true. That's a point. Yeah.
Gary Siders Sr., the grandpa, he is now out on this signature bond. So basically, he has signed a document. The writing on this is very poor. He signed the document saying, yeah, if I take off, I'm.
Okay, let's look at it. State of Ohio, Vinton County, okay, versus Gary Siders. Conditions, he's got to be a law-abiding citizen. Well, he's already broke that one because he's charged with 16 felony counts of child endangerment. Keep the court informed of any address and telephone number changes. Appear at all court hearings. Appear before the sheriff of Vinton County, Ohio, within 24 hours to submit to fingerprinting and DNA collection procedure. Tell you what, this case has more DNA than any case I've ever heard of, man. It's crazy. And GPS at the state's expense, which that I don't agree with, because I think if you are being monitored by the state, you pay for the monitoring. So,
what does that mean?
Huh?
What does that mean, being monitored by the state? Oh, like probation?
No, like he has an ankle monitor on, and so they know where he is at all times. Appear before the sheriff's office. We went through that. Submit to drug alcohol screening at request of law enforcement. I would say that should be easy for him, but I don't know. But anyway, he's out on his own recognizance, and that only has to do with his medical bills, because Medicare, Medicaid is federal. They can absorb that. The state doesn't want to absorb it, and the county can't.
On the hook for $300,000 that he doesn't have. We all know that. They don't obviously.
It's silly, you know. I've never done a bond like that, you know.
They obviously don't think he is going to run because he's in such poor health. He's on a GPS monitoring bracelet. They don't believe he's a threat to the public, but he has, a competency issue that's been raised. So how do you square that, having somebody out on bail when you're saying you don't think that they are potentially competent to stand trial? So how do you balance that concern?
Well, that's another issue. I never would allow very, very seldom would I ever allow somebody out on bond who I felt was incompetent. It's too difficult actually to do a competency when they're out. There was a couple cases where they were people.
This is so important and something I never even thought about before. If someone is incompetent, then go ahead, let them out on their own recognizance, get them all worked up at the hospital, and then say, you have another hearing, call back the recognizance warrant, put their ass back in jail. Because if you're that crazy, you don't need to be out with on just a ankle monitor. These are big words, Kristen. Are you okay?
Yep. Is it because it's physically they can't take care of him? It's all about the money for them. So he probably, I'm going to be honest, I don't think he'll see any time. And I hate to be negative, Nancy, but I feel like
looking at trial in 2028.
Okay. So he's
I mean,
got a while.
yeah. So, I mean, so for 2 years, he'll be sitting at some family member's house eating Chef Boyardee ravioli.
You're so funny.
And he's not going to go too far. He don't even know what day it is. I dropped the link again if anybody wants to come up. Kristen, are we friends on Facebook?
I don't know. I really don't get on Facebook too much. Is it under Crime Lines and Lies?
That'd be the one. So just wondering if you wanted to come into our Discord. You would love to talk to everyone in there.
Oh, I love chatting with everybody. I love when people tell me their opinions on crimes because, like, I don't want to get too off of focus, but I'm, into the whole Nolan Wells case. It's just when it's young children, it really gets me sad. So, I like to hear people's opinions on it. Just like sometimes I like to stay back and watch other people come on and they give me ideas.
About him. We have a group about him in there. Radio God said he won't make it. He won't make it. Nope, he won't.
That had some real bad mental problems and didn't commit a very serious offense, maybe a felony drug abuse or something like that. And they obviously had mental problems and they were not a threat to anybody. And they were low-level felonies. I would let them out. Usually they would end up going to a halfway house or something like that. But in a situation like this, these serious charges, he's claiming he's incompetent. A lot of defendants fake it. They try to fake it. A good examiner will have them watched and will review video of them when they're not there and pretty much clear up the faking. Because a lot of times when they do the interview, they'll fake, but they record them in jail and how they interact with other people. And then suddenly the psychologist or psychiatrist shows up and they act goofy, Well, they are obviously faking. But the only way you can do that is I would have at least kept him in for the competency evaluation because then you can monitor whether they were.
Thank you, Radio Gods. You're saying it perfectly. His medical conditions are not in the Vinton County budget. Their budget is $8 million a year. $8 million a year. We have someone knocking at the door. Who's knocking? Well, if it isn't Basement Jesus, what are you doing?
It's me. Good morning.
So do you think that they should all be put in jail, or do you think that they should what are you going to do with them if they don't go to jail?
They deserve to rot in. No, sorry. I know you're on YouTube. They deserve to rot in hell.
There you go. Okay. Well, I mean, hell's not a choice. So should they go to a mental institution or jail?
With the amount of services and social services that the state prisons offer, they'll get the same services in prison as what they'll get if they went to a mental institution. They can still provide them medications. They still have therapy. They still have all that shit. So.
Do you think they're a harm to others if they were out? Obviously, they've only been a harm to the kids.
My opinion, that's the worst though, because people that can hurt children and animals, they go for victims. So I would think they would be the worst to have in the society because they would be mean to people.
Okay.
Children,
yeah.
Personally, do I feel like they're a to the general public? Probably not.
No, I don't think so.
Do they deserve to be part of the general population and be in society? No, there's no place for them in society.
Not according to the United States Constitution. They are innocent till proven guilty, but once a jury or their peers says, you can't do that to kids. You had two of them, you have two in critical condition. These kids haven't gone to school. Some of them will have what has happened to them in childhood will follow them through their adulthood. They're getting the license.
Then you have recidivism, because by the time you take into account all the people, like children, that have been, for better lack of terms, SA and stuff like that, the probability of that increases almost 6 times of them doing that to their own family later on down the road. So yeah, let's just cut the family lineage off at the stump.
I agree. And that's why I'm happy. Now, in some cases, I'm not, but in some cases, I am. So I'm on the teeter-totter with this one. But there are so many states that are saying there is no more kinship adoption. No way, no how. Okay? Your aunt that smokes cigarettes and smells like chicken fat is not going to take your kids. One way or another, she's been part of the problem. Let's have a music break with Joey.
Oh God, this guy again.
Smile at me like my wildest dream. Crickets singing a harmony in the dark.
At least he's entertaining, right?
Through my heart, that old
I think me and you have different opinions on what entertainment is.
No hurry, baby. Let's take it nice and slow. There ain't nowhere else we gotta go. Your body saying things your lips won't say, and we can stay right here till the break of day. Hey, girl, hold on tight. We'll be doing our thing, baby, all damn night. Jimmy back roads got your hand in mine under the stars and the moonlight. Slow dancing in the headlights glow. Heartbeat fast and no telling where we might go. Yeah, hold on tight and don't feel just right. Bonfire sparks lighting up your blue jeans. You smile at me like my wildest dream. Crickets singing a harmony in the
If anybody wants to know where to write him a letter, where to put money on his commissary, just send me an email. Kristen, are you going to be on that? I'm waiting on Lisa Kuzrowitz.
I'm thinking about sending him a little bit of a care package. He looks like he needs to gain a little bit of weight.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
They eat well in prison.
Oh, really? Do they? I heard it's nothing but county carbs, and people are constantly constipated because they're walking on concrete floors.
Yeah, I don't think I want to go to jail.
I will say that the commissary, at least in Ohio, I have no clue where this fucking idiot's from, but at least in Ohio, the commissary that they're allowed to order, I mean, Jesus Christ, they can get ground beef, they can get anything and everything you can possibly think of.
Who pays for that?
Well, I'm gonna say
the state. I mean, anybody that puts money on their commissary.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna say that I've had a lot of boyfriends that were in prison, and I've never brought ground beef up here in Michigan. They ate a bunch of carbs like noodles and beef sticks and cheese, and so maybe in your state they do, but not up here. They don't get that luxury.
Hold on.
I mean, it's still like it's packaged ground beef that's already been cooked, so I'm sure it's like MRE fucking ground beef that they have to rehydrate and shit, but it's still better protein than eating the same fucking packs of tuna every day.
Yeah, tuna's better for you. How many dudes have you dated in jail, Kristen?
Well, my last kid was up in prison. I've lived a very, very rough life. Anyways, so yeah, he did 2 years, and I stayed with him for 2 years. It was probably like the most rewarding but hardest time of my life. I had freedom with a boyfriend that was away. So
I'm telling you, yeah. But I mean, it's not like you get anything for Valentine's Day when he's in the jail. What was he in jail for?
we were he used to make rugs. He used
Drugs.
to, yeah, he used to make them.
Oh, and he got 2 years for that. Okay, I got that.
It was
Hell
a
yeah,
flop.
science.
Mhm.
Fuck.
So he's basically a street corner pharmacist, and he spent 2 years for it.
Yeah, he actually did like 12 years altogether, but yeah.
Hmm.
He can't get off of them now. I mean, I got sober. I've been sober for like 6 years now. I mean, it's been a long
Good for
time.
you.
So,
Mhm.
thank you. Thank you. It's rewarding, I'll
Let's
tell you that.
do a round of applause for Kristen, because she's no longer dating people in jail and she's sober.
Thank you. No, I've always
faking
wanted to
I
be
can
say
I can
videos
honestly
in
say
jail
in
going all the
my
time.
Yeah, and I think that's a
my
good
dating
point because
history,
Elizabeth
I've never.
Elizabeth Sider's brother has posted on
It
Facebook
wasn't
that he
planned, I'll tell you
thinks
that. It wasn't when
the
I
other
met him. I
ones
was like, oh, well,
are
he's
faking it.
a
He
raging
thinks
rug
that
Yeah, they're
the
all
addict. I'm
faking.
gonna
three
hang
Yeah.
out with him. It
yeah,
just kind of
so he
happened
thinks
that
they're
way.
faking
And, I
being
had to think
goofy, as
tremendously
he
because
put
I ended
it.
up adopting
So
out our
what do you
son.
make of
So don't do what I do.
Okay, my goodness. All right, so let's get back to the show. Jeremy Russell just said, my sister just wrapped her life up due to indoctrination. This is 100% real. 20 kids and younger than me. The math equals immature pieces of shit man involved. He does not like his brother-in-law. I met this dude a couple of months ago, shook my hand like a baby with super soft hands. Well, we know why. He jerks off all the time. Definitely
Well,
never
so,
worked a day in his life. I should have taken him out that night. So, thoughts about what this is Jeremy, not Joey. Jeremy's not in jail, Joey is.
what does yanking your crank have to do with soft hands?
I don't know.
That's what I want. That's what I want to know. I mean, God's sakes, my hands are calloused as shit. But maybe I'm just gripping too hard. Hell, I don't know.
Goodness gracious. Well, at least you're honest.
Well, that's what we're getting right now from the Russell family.
Oh,
how
honesty.
common is that somebody would raise a competency
It
issue?
happens a lot. And
So
it happens a lot.
who's the one
and
that we just watched?
the
That's
issue
her
with cameras,
brother, right?
cameras
So
have helped
who's
a lot.
Jeremy?
We have cameras everywhere now. We didn't have cameras years ago. I remember I was on
Right? That's the brother that we just
federal
watched,
robbery
right?
task
That's her
force.
brothers.
Kristen, we're doing the show.
I know.
Okay, love you. If you have a question, just wait till we have a break. Okay. Not a crank. I said crank because Bob Cowdy said cranking your hog doesn't make your hands soft. Okay. I did not know that because I don't have a hog. Okay. And if I did, I would probably be cranking it all the time and I would have a ton of money.
You would be helicoptering that shit every day just walking through your house.
Here. Goodness, basement Jesus. Okay, so you asked who that was. That's Jeremy, who is a younger brother of Elizabeth's. And the dancing queen that I would like to see on America's Got Talent is Joey.
Okay, thank you.
And that was before cameras. And we had to go on eyewitnesses and forensic evidence. And it was tough. But now there's cameras in every bank. You don't have many bank robberies anymore.
One that we
there's cameras all over.
Sorry, I'm in your head.
Somebody commits a crime. Somebody broke into a jewelry store yesterday. They have those cameras. Every house, they followed the car with using the cameras and found out where they were and arrested them. So, so the cameras in the jail will constantly be used to monitor them. So they'll fake in front of the psychologist. Then they let the cameras run. And the psychologist then reviews them when they eat food, when they interact with other inmates, when they interact with other correctional officers. And clearly it will show that they're fine. They just act goofy when the psychologist shows up. So it's very important to keep them, at least during the competency, he should be held until they determine competency. Again, I don't know about the finances. I never thought, I never really pondered that because I come from a big county with a lot of money.
The finances are horrible. Where the hell did Kristen go? Kristen, where's she at? Tell you what, I just sent her the Discord link in the private chat.
Yoink.
But, it's true, Vinton and Pike and Jackson County, they don't have a lot of money. Brown County, they have trouble. Adams County, the smaller counties, they don't have a lot of money,
So they don't think that he's going anywhere. They think he's not going to run. They've got him on GPS. He's either staying with family or staying in a medical facility. We're not 100% sure, but he's not in the hospital anymore. We know that. Now we have Elizabeth. Finally, everybody else was raising this competency issue, and now just today, her attorney has raised the competency issue. So we have four defendants. Yeah, we have four defendants in one family saying, their lawyers are saying, we have concerns about their competency, about their ability to help in their defense and understand these proceedings. Do you feel like, she's the youngest of all of them?
In cases like this where it seems like it's pretty open and shut, it's a pretty serious case. They're all caught right there with these kids and not taking care of them. There's not much of a defense. So, hey, let's try NGR. Let's try competency, and then let's hopefully they'll be found incompetent and they can't be prosecuted, or maybe they'll be, if they determine they're competent, then the next issue is they do not guilty by reason of insanity.
And NGR, in my opinion, since we're using acronyms, NGR means not guilty. The reason, insanity. NGR is not guilty by reason of insanity. Okay? In my opinion, that's exactly what every one of these defense attorneys is aiming for. Now, my question, even though Kristen couldn't answer it at fucking all, and I don't know where she went, where are they going to go? Are they just going to go out into society? Or are they going to go to, let's say, an institution? Basement Jesus is back. How's it going, Basement?
I have no clue what the fuck happened. It just dropped, but I'm good.
So if they are found in GR, where will they go? Are we just going to turn them loose out to the streets of Ohio? To poop and pee in other people's houses? Or will they go to a mental institution? That has not been discussed.
I still think they should just end up in jail. That's just me, though.
Well, September Angel just came in, and this is her state, and she knows everything about this case. Maybe she can answer my question. I've only been through Ohio, never lived there.
It's a common tactic. The defense, they're just doing their job, They don't have a lot to go on. So if we'll go incompetent, or if that doesn't work, then we'll go NGRI, These people it's obviously not the brightest bunch in the world. I'll tell you, they had all these kids, they can't take care of them, they let them in squalor.
Is it surprising to you that they're raising these issues before an indictment has even been handed down?
No. Well, they have to go on. They have nothing else to go on. I figure we'll go for this. We'll go for the mental, because factually, it's a pretty strong case. What's your defense? They catch you with all these kids in there, not being taken care of. Let's go for, and who in their right mind, I guess the theory also is who in their right mind would allow this to happen? There has to be something wrong. So we'll go for competency, and then we'll go for NGRI. That's a common tactic defense attorneys use. You can't really blame them. They got nothing else to go on,
But NGRI means you basically didn't know the difference between right and wrong. And the prosecutor said they were hiding these kids. So that suggests
they were hiding them. They were.
am I hearing everything twice?
You probably have an app on or something. They
Oh,
were
fuck yeah.
they were hiding them. September said, I think they are all trying to go free. September, can you grab the link? I have some questions about your state that I know you love very much, and you should because it's a gorgeous state. If they're found not guilty by reason of insanity, will they just shuffle around Ohio? Or will they go to, let's say, one of the psych centers in Columbus?
Now, see, I worked in Ohio jails, so I may have a little bit of insight.
Tell me. We're here. We're talking.
Let's see. It wouldn't be insanity. The insanity defense, it would be mental defect is what they would use. Mental defect would just mean they're pretty much incompetent. Insanity is pretty much what it sounds like. Mental defect just could mean anything from mental retardation to, Down syndrome or anything like that, progressed, or even if they had diminished capacity from something like dementia or anything like that, they could claim that. But if they were hiding these kids, they obviously knew that they were doing something wrong. So, and even if they do eventually get pushed to one of the facilities that the state offers, they'll still be in the jail system for X amount of time until they can end up with a social worker that will push for it, and then they'll have to retry. They'll have to have another. So that regardless, they will do some jail time.
More than likely. And something that we haven't discussed on the show before is that, Ma and Pa Siders, they get Social Security. Neither of them are deceased. Okay. So they're still getting their checks. They're still sitting in their bank account. They could get out, rent a house, and go right back to doing what they were doing. I don't know who would rent to them, and I damn sure wouldn't let Gary and Elizabeth back around me. But the old man's got money.
Yeah, see, Janica said it. She said that most prisons are the new mental institutions. The amount of programs that they offer in prisons is astronomical. How many they offer. Like, it is, your mind would be fucking blown if you knew the amount of services that these inmates get. Like, it's fucking stupid.
Help us help, I guess.
That you did know what you were doing was wrong if you're quote unquote hiding the kids. They were once enrolled in school and then they didn't go to school.
Well, that's a good point. Exactly. Because they were evidently hiding them. And the whole thing was that they were supposedly homeschooling these kids. Is that right?
We don't know. That's been suggested on social media, but we don't know that was actually happening. They certainly weren't registered for homeschooling.
No, but they had a thing in there where they said they went to their school record. They said homeschool. So they must have told them they were going to homeschool them, but they didn't monitor them at all,
Right.
But that was the excuse. Because you wonder what they weren't in school. Why weren't they being monitored? Where's the truant officer? But
the truant officer obviously was available home skillet because truant officer called Child Protective Services and said these kids are not going to school. And once they started getting at the door, they left literally a pile of urine and shit behind them, and they went to another county and got another house. They were running. which tells me that they have some level of competency.
Yeah, I mean they're fit enough to stand trial easily.
Evidently said they were homeschooling him, but then they didn't monitor that either. It's just a mess. This county is something else, I'll tell you.
Mhm.
For this to happen, it's a lot of things going through the cracks here. You know, you wonder about the infrastructure of this whole county. You know.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. I mean, they moved from Gallia County up to Vinton. So there's a lot that was going on with this. So how do you think that the competency evaluations, do you think that slows this case down at all?
Not really. I mean, it happens a lot. They try to do them within 30 to 60 days. And then they have a hearing. And usually they stipulate, if the person that was found competent, they stipulate to it. If found incompetent, then a lot of times the state will ask for another examiner, you know. Sometimes the examiners they have work for the court are a little naive, and they'll bring an independent examiner in. I would depend. There's a couple really sharp examiners who catch these people that fake. And I would always.
Almost impossible to fake somebody out on things like that. I mean, a polygraph is one thing because it's just basically following pulses, respiratory rate, and blood pressure. Okay. That's the reason.
Skin temperature. All
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you're proving my point. Exactly. And that's the reason they're not used in court. But as far as trying to act like, you know, you're Forrest Gump talking to a state forensic psychiatrist, you're not going to fool them. You're just not going to. That's the reason they have to have 3 separate evaluations. And this was a month ago. Now, I don't know when the grand jury's going to be because, you know, every one of the attorneys turned down the prelim. I don't understand why, unless they just weren't ready to be in front of the judge. Because the grand jury is going to indict them. That's all there is to it. The grand jury will. They will. Because Ohio doesn't use a grand jury like, say, Mississippi does. Like Mississippi, you could have just like a car crash that's suspicious, but you don't see foul play, and they'll put it in front of a grand jury. And then they'll say, nah, this was totally an accident. Or like the Nolan Wells case, where, you know, it appears that he had too much to drink and he drowned. But since they can't quite exactly figure out what happened to him, they have to put everything in front of a grand jury.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. Like, I feel like this is pretty cut and dry. I mean, they're just massive pieces of shit, but what do I know?
I don't know, because I don't really care about their fifis. I don't really care about their bad day. I just don't really care. I think they need to pay for what they did to these children, because these children, they're all, you know, 18 and under. The little ones have a chance, but the older ones are probably going to wind up just like them.
Oh,
you know?
Absolutely. I mean, these kids are fucked for life. I mean, that's just the way it is. It is going to take, there is no amount of therapy that is going to fix this. That's just the way it is. I mean, these kids are, I mean, they're done for. They're going to be wards of the state until they reach age, and then they're going to go into the general population and into society, and it'll just wash, rinse, repeat. Fingers crossed that it fucking doesn't, but
I think the ones that are like 10 and under will be adopted. But the older ones, I mean, they can all be adopted. They all can be. I mean, hell, I mean, that does happen, especially the ones 5 and under. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, the adoption list in Ohio, did you see how long that is?
Mm-hmm.
How many people want to adopt a child?
But by God, they make it fucking impossible for people that aren't fucking millionaires to adopt. But by God, if you got fucking money, you can just go pick your fucking kid out of a lineup.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, I think it should be hard to adopt.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
you don't know what kind of crazies are out there. I think it should be hard to be a foster parent.
right.
I think it would be harder to be a parent. But that's a system we haven't worked out yet, and we talk about it almost every day.
Yeah, I mean, the background for being a parent is, should be very, very extensive.
Mhm.
But it's also at the point of where if you've previously had children, and say you're an empty nester and you want to adopt one of these kids that is out of the whole diaper stage bullshit, great. How did your kid turn out? I know that's what they look at, but I think the waiting list is so long. It's because people are, maybe they just can't get pregnant, or maybe, the mom is like, I don't want to have a baby because it's going to wreck my body, and then they just want to adopt.
Like the case we talked about yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, or don't get me started on same-sex couple adoption surrogate bullshit. It's not the place for it.
No. Bob said there was a woman arrested in Benton County last year for abusing her foster kids. We thought that was going to be the worst thing to ever happen to the county, and now this. Well, I want to say thank you for Kristen coming up. I want to say thank you to Basement Jesus, Joey Russell for entertaining us with our music breaks, Spicy Brit today, Spicy Aggie, the best mod squad on the planet, and of course, tell you what, just going to go ahead and pat myself on the back. The best friends anybody on these crazy YouTube streets can ever have. So you guys have a good rest of your day. Laura and I are going to set up a Discord live here in a little bit. So if you want to join, and I'll see you over there. Love you. Bye.
See you, Rita.